Alright, another round with hythloday's bullshit. But anyway, so again, he just keeps arguing that somehow this argument is about elitist, qualified physicists versus ignorant, dumbasses who don't understand the subtleties or complexities of, yeah, what? The simple universe. Oh, that's right. The universe that one could surmise to be simpler than the stuff that emerges out of it.
When they're put to him, okay? And that chip on his shoulder is what allows him to unrestrainedly...
Yeah, whatever. There's no chip put on my shoulder by anybody but you and assholes like Piro. And, you just do this dismissive, mocking bullshit. You don't make a rational argument pointing out how something I've said is fundamentally wrong. You just keep arguing we already have a right answer, and you do that in the context of where you show your own witnesses are saying, no, we have the wrong answer. I mean, your duplicity is insane. It's so duplicitous, only an insane person can't see that.
In an unrestrained fashion, to put it that way, to make aspersions of which he has no capability of backing up.
Again, I'm not making aspersions. I'm saying your evidence is weak and your judgment is insipid. If that's an aspersion, I'm saying your judgment is insipid. Your ability to measure, weigh, qualify, judge evidence is irrational.
Now, I tell you straightforward that I cannot derive from this equation the implications of waves in gravity. But I can tell you that...
No, so again, he can't. He's saying, I can't see it, okay, because I don't know enough about all this complexity. And the fact that Einstein didn't find it, I mean, Einstein played with his own equation, I'm sure. You can imagine he would say, I can make a mass that's 2,000 solar masses. Well, what's the implication of that? Well, what if that mass was moving at a very... You don't think Einstein did that? You don't think Einstein said, well, it wouldn't matter because it's still gravity. It's not a magic force. I'm not converting matter into gravity. I'm not nuclear bombing. I'm not doing anything here. And if I did, that would have huge implications in the universe. The least thing you worry about is this detecting waves from billions of light years away, because you'd be worried about your neighbor doing the same thing to you.
And it is the position of orthodox science that from this equation can be derived the implications of...
Okay, so he's saying from this equation can be derived. So again, this argument is sort of a fundamental argument. I mean, in physics, Einstein turned left, the rest of physics turned right, however you want to look at it. They took Einstein's theory. They wouldn't even publish Einstein. I mean, it got to be that bad, where Einstein submitted papers for publication and they rejected them on the subject of relativity. I mean, that's how bad it got, in the sense that relativity was the property of the new scientists, and Einstein didn't know his own science, is essentially how their attitude. They knew what the new relativity was. Now, it obviously wasn't this relativity. It's obviously some, let's multiply everything by 4,000 and put a plus here and make it equal 48. They did something else to the equation, obviously. And you're saying, well, I trust them. That's all you're saying. I'm saying I have no reason to trust them. They've made fake microbes in buckets. Scientists have done all kinds of things because they're lazy and they want to be heroes. And they've cut all kinds of corners. I did this corner cutting thing before. No good having a bus driver who cuts corners.
Gravitational waves. I present to you such experts saying the purpose of our investigations after Einstein delivered this equation for the longest while is for them to study the implications of that.
Again, they're not just studying the implications, they're perverting the equation, they're changing it. So again, you keep saying they're studying the implications. Einstein studied the applications, and Einstein didn't find any implication in his equation. You have to add something or subtract something to be able to come up with some notion that now we're going to change this mass number, wherever mass might be in this slop, and we're going to say we can convert that into this energy number, this C thing.
And I've illustrated that current knowledge about this equation far, far exceeds what Einstein's knowledge of this equation was, because solutions involve supercomputers, as the experts said, right? It's very difficult to find solutions to equations sometimes. So
yeah, well, again, solutions to equations is all you're saying is processing a circumstance, and some circumstances are complex, like if you want to know where Pluto is in 6 billion years. Yeah, you might need a supercomputer to do that math, because it's going to be a hell of a lot of math, a lot of doing the redundant approximation equations, the calculus.
You have to use numerical methods, which are very sophisticated guessing systems, I guess you could say. But they're so sophisticated that it's really clever guessing. And there are many different methods based upon many different premises. But they find some.
Yes, well, again, those are just refinements to finding variables by narrowing your error. So, yes, it's like the tunneling microscope. It doesn't really tunnel, doesn't really do anything like that. It's just a synthetic way of processing the data where you can get a higher resolution because you can take out some of the noise.
Solutions and can be proved to be either solutions or approximate solutions.
Well, again, solutions to what? You're saying there's a physical event that's somehow proven by this theory. There's physical event of converting acceleration mass, if we're going to call it that, into the effect of gravity displacements. And where's the theoretical justification for that new science? That new science wasn't in here. It's not in his equation. It's a new equation.
So, what's the problem? That's the position of orthodox science. What is under discussion is orthodox science.
Is what level of evidence is required to have for this trial to be conducted in the way you're conducting it, in this arrogant manner, like, well, it's so obvious he's guilty. And then you show up with trivial evidence.
You're posing questions and I'm delivering the answers within the paradigm of...
Yes, and all of your answers are bullshit. Okay? You're satisfied. The witness says geometry tells mass what to do, and then mass tells geometry how to geometry. Okay, well, I'm saying that's irrational mush. It doesn't have any value at all as an explanation of any fucking thing. It's just saying the equation is the equation, period. It validates itself. The answer to the equation is, I say the equation is right. And I'll go into all the other crap that you've provided as counter arguments. The faked image is fine. You haven't explained to me exactly how the 25% margin of error could ever be excused. But I'm sure you have some rationalization for that.
Orthodox science. What doesn't count as a rebuttal to orthodox claims that from this equation follows light waves is your scribblings on a piece of paper on how you think it works. Or your scribblings on how...
Well, the fact that I do have a better theory is certainly a valid argument. So, again, I have a better person to charge with the crime, and I have evidence proving that other person did it. And so that evidence is certainly valid evidence in proving that the person you're putting on this, the person you're persecuting, isn't the one who's guilty. It certainly is exploratory evidence. So you can play that game. And like I said, I don't really want to concentrate on my theory. I'm just defending Einstein here, who I think was fundamentally wrong, but I'm going to defend the fact that they can't put Einstein's name on this new rubbish. Because it's not Einstein's theory, it's not what he talked about, it's not what he analyzed, it doesn't have a damn thing to do with Einstein.
Absurd the conclusion is. Because the statement of orthodox science isn't about whether it's philosophically tenable, whether it's got a touch of absurdity to it. The statement of orthodox science is that from this equation...
Well, I'm going to say then they're not doing rational science, okay? So if those aren't real limiting factors to having insanely pious arrogance, that should be a limitation. And the fact that it's not is almost a non-starter. Your scientists lose all credibility if the fact that there's inconsistencies and flaws in their bullshit their evidence is flawed. Their witness has been unreliable. The fact that their witness in the past has lied on the stand or something, if they're putting a liar on the stand and saying this is a good case, that's clearly evidence that they shouldn't even be lawyers.
One of the consequences of this equation is an implication of gravitational waves, of wormholes, of black holes.
I'm saying it's not unless you fuck with the equation. Now, I'm saying wormholes, maybe. Black holes, yes, clearly. And clearly Einstein put a limitation on that because obviously there's subtle implications in here because the mass gets so dense that it would destroy how the atoms themselves function or some other kind of limiting factor, some other thing that'll create a problem that can't be overcome in the sense that you can't create too much pressure because, you know, there's rules to that sort of thing. Stuff starts to go nuclear, you know. But the fact that the equation by itself leaves that possibility open. The equation doesn't have all of those other variables, the limitations in it. You have to add those limitations as a new equation, just pointing out, well, once this pressure number gets to a certain level, you have no theoretical basis to sustain that as something that can practically happen.
Of event horizons, and so on and so forth. And probably many more.
Yeah, well, the whole idea of an event horizon gets to all kinds of practical things where we don't have evidence, and yet we have to make the conclusions you draw are kind of substantial. This whole idea of whether light is affected by gravity and whether you can trap light in gravity wells and trap light in orbits. This is all part of your theory. Now, if that's not possible, then you have to come up with a whole different kind of physics, because you don't have the same justifications for explaining where the force goes and why the force doesn't leak out of the black hole and why the black hole doesn't radiate any radiation. All those things become open questions when you can't use your presumptions. And your presumptions are the ones that are on trial. Assumptions.
So I got about a minute to evaluate, and it'll demonstrate all the points and criticisms I'm making towards that science and dissident science probably equally.
Well, whatever. You know, and you're a pedophile, and, you know, I wouldn't waste any fucking time on your useless, stinking ass if there was somebody else who could make an argument. But apparently your side can't produce anybody but shit talkers like you. Little weasels have to use all these personal attacks and all this personal monkey nonsense. You can't make a rational counter-argument to a single fucking thing I've proposed, and you haven't come up with a rational explanation for a single one of the flaws I found in your fucking useless, crappy science. Your science is shit, and I'm pointing it out. So again, show me the two-slit experiment done with photons, where the mathematics that actually creates the gradated wave pattern signal that should be received. Well, why don't you show me that? Show me where the math is right.
What we'll see is amendment, okay?
Certainly if we're within a few 100,000 light years of one of these events, we would be doomed.
Right, so is this according to your theory or orthodoxy?
No, it's according to the inverse square law that nobody proved isn't valid in this equation. And the fact that if this much energy is being received by the planet Earth, again, convert the energy, the gravity, into an equivalency of photons. How many photons would it take to move the rock of the Earth enough for them to receive this signal? So they're receiving a signal that's made out of energy. You're pretending it's not real energy because you called it gravity. But it is real energy. Real rock is being moved. Okay, so it's a tremendous amount of energy being received 5 billion light years away. And at the inverse square law, the amount of energy that something would be exposed to is insanely high, even hundreds and thousands of light years away from the event. There's no way to undo that fact. And you aren't explaining how it's not a fact.
If it is, you must be able to find a solution and prove this. Can you? I don't think so. This is just
again, it's my obligation to sit there and disprove them. They don't have to prove their case. I have to prove their innocence. So again, this is turning the trial upside down. You don't have to prove your assumptions, and you don't have to prove your equation is correct. You can just say it is. We did it. You just stand up, say, we did it, we have an equation, and now I'm the one obligated to go through all the details and find out where you broke the rule here, and you broke the rule here, and you broke the rule here. You're not obligated to prove a fucking thing. Yeah, that's a fair cop. No, that's an unfair cop. That's a fucking, third world judicial system.
nothing other than shit out of your mouth.
Basically, perhaps the gravitational wave itself could be something because it is local enough.
Yeah, local enough meaning not pretty far away. Just by, like I said, their own math dictates it.
Does it? Does it? Can you...
Yes, the inverse square law dictates it. That's right. I can show that. I've shown that over and over again. I've shown how just a few diameters away from the sun, the gravity that some body experiences is so minuscule that you would almost have a hard time detecting it. The sun's gravitational force where the Earth is orbiting is so small that if you were floating in space, you probably couldn't tell which way was up.
Show that. It's like you demonstrate that you could show that our own maths proves that if where the line is where it starts being destructive, or is this just shit running out your mouth?
No, well, again, so I'm just saying, let's just come up with an arbitrary number for the tonons of energy, the zillions of calories. Okay, let's say the photons that come from a supernova, 120 light years away. The number of photons, let's just give it a number, and we'll say 1,000,000 photons equals this certain quantity, and so there's 10 of that quantity from photons. So we actually receive, 10 zillion photons, or whatever the number would be. The number of gravitons, or equal mass in gravity, an equal amount of energy converted into photon equivalency, would be a zillion times more than the light equivalent that we get from the same thing. So there's so much more gravity coming off this object than light. All right? That's the truth. The conversion of the 3 solar masses worth of gravity waves, it isn't 3 solar masses worth of light. And again, I said, if we did the equation of what would it look like in the universe, if at 1 millisecond in time, 3 solar masses were converted into photons, it would incinerate us here, billions of light years away. We would be incinerated. 5 billion light years away, it would be so fucking bright, we would be incinerated. That's what this gravitational wave theory is based on. It's some magical, invisible force that they don't have to account for as real energy.
It can shake rocks here. It's going to do so much. It's just going to completely turn to dust.
Well, it's hardly shaking rocks here, is it? When the analogy is...
No, it's exactly like shaking rock. It's a compression and an expansion, a compression and an expansion, a compression and expansion. That's the whole theory of this stupid wave. There was 3,000 of these compressions and expansions, okay, in 100 seconds. So in the period of 100 seconds, 3,000 times the rocks expanded and the rocks contracted.
Lining up atoms from here to the end of the universe, and like one of those, the galaxy or whatever the analogy was, and it's like moving one of those.
That's just for their bullshit calculation that they can measure their precision of their measuring instrument. I didn't say that happens. I didn't say that's in their math. That's just in their, this is how accurate our machine is. That's just their bullshit about saying how accurate their machine is. And it's a completely made up phenomenon in the sense they create a synthetic universe to justify that silly notion that we can measure a rock moving the width of a hair. Well, of course they can measure a rock moving the width of a hair. No one's disputing that. They've just decided I can make the ruler as long as I want. I can make the scale that it happened on, I can make it as big as I want to. because I'm saying the force is always going to be the force. There's always going to be the compression and the expansion. It's not about how strong the compression and expansion is. It's about the fact that there is a compression and an expansion. And they say any compression and expansion justifies us making the ruler as long as the distance a photon can travel.
You know, it's hardly shaking us, as commonly understood.
No, it is, as any rational person evaluating can understand. There's a big giant mirrors, and the two mirrors are moved based on what the Earth they're tied to does. So if the Earth they're tied to moves, they wiggle. All right, and they're measuring the difference in the wiggle. So the wave has to be strong enough, not only strong, but it has to be strong enough to create a differential they can measure. So they're not only measuring movement, they're measuring the differential in the movement, which requires even a higher level of precision.
Anything close?
What's that? No. You're going to show me where it says that. Show me where it says that. It's here. It says it all.
Okay, so he says it's here. It's not here at all. He can't turn this math into a gravitational wave in any way whatsoever.
No, I personally can't.
I'm saying Einstein couldn't. So again, you're not even taking Einstein's word for it. Einstein didn't see it in his math because Einstein didn't see the part where they turned mass into a wave. He didn't see that part in his equation anywhere. He didn't see how you could convert the actual mass into a functional equivalent of the force. Nowhere in his equation does that process take place. All he saw was there's mass, and no matter what it's doing, okay, the rule is you got this inverse square law of gravity. They're the ones breaking that. You know, some people are arguing it's only the R rule here, 1 over R, because somehow the gravity is coming out like a laser beam. You know, it's coming out only in one plane. So, you know, maybe that's their wacky theory to refine this thing a little bit. But that still would make this plane, you know, a Terminator plane. Anything on that plane is fucking annihilated.
But that isn't the point. The point is you asked a question, and I told you where the answer...
No, I said, where's the theoretical conversation? I said, show me where physics had a conversation about this new theory of converting mass into fucking waves. Where is it? It's not in Einstein's papers. It's not in Einstein's theory. Where did it take place? Where did this conversation of analysis and testing take place? No one's tested this LIGO crap. Nobody's sitting there judged, but does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Where did that conversation take place? Where did you voir dire your witnesses? Where did you ask your witnesses any fucking questions whatsoever? You're just letting them testify. You haven't tested any of their testimony whatsoever. You don't even know what the fuck they're going to stand up and say. And you're saying that's good science. I'm saying it's shit science.
I've given you a lecture by somebody explaining more thoroughly that Einstein delivered a consequence of that as being...
Well, he didn't do that, and I haven't got to squeaky yet, okay, because you keep making fucking videos doing this shit. What am I supposed to watch 7 hours of hythloday? Okay? It's inanely, and it makes me nauseous watching this tripe anyway. Okay, but yeah, it's just more. You think this presentation is gonna do the deal? It's another vacuous for the public consumption bullshit fucking video.
Gravitational waves.
Just a pile of crap.
It's just a pile of crap. Demonstrated how? Because I haven't done it. You couldn't. You couldn't.
No, demonstrated by them. I'm saying I can't use the word 5 million times, but it's really incredibly weak evidence. Your little group of scientists standing up and saying, we've been funded with billions of dollars, that means we must be right, and we say we did it. And everybody just applauds. I'm saying, where's the evidence? I didn't see any fucking evidence. All I see is this witness saying, yeah, sure, I didn't see, I'm not going to give you any details, but yeah, it's the truth. Trust me. He did it.
And wouldn't make any effort, if I could, to follow the mathematics.
It's not there. It's not. If Einstein thought it was there, you would have said it was there.
So you're impugning the character right, the intellectual integrity of this guy.
Oh yeah, well I'm telling you that anybody who associates Einstein and they keep saying Einstein's relativity was verified, Einstein's theory was valid. No, these are exactly the people who were slandering Einstein while he was still alive. These are the same people who weren't publishing his papers. Okay? This is the bullshit of science. They've decided the theory is theirs. They will say what the theory says. Einstein has no voice in his own fucking theory. That was happening before he was even dead. You don't think this is horse shit that they put Einstein's fucking image on this crap when he said exactly the opposite? I mean, fuck. You don't think that's just being lacking any kind of integrity to say we're verifying Einstein when they're exactly contradicting Einstein?
What evidence do you have? He quotes the guy who derived it, and he quotes the date that he derived it, the year. Right? All right, he's not quoted the paper, but have you have evidence just because of your limited readings? Yeah, and I understand that you have, researched some of the papers and looked at what he said, but there's no guarantee that it's all inclusive. You could say I haven't.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, exactly. I'm just saying that's your evidence is weak. I'm not saying it can't be possible. Blah blah. Well, I do think it's impossible just theoretically, but I'm saying wherever this analysis is, where mass gets converted into gravity waves, I've never seen that as being part of any kind of physics anywhere. Okay? There's no explanation for how you can do that and obey conservation laws.
It, that he delivered that, and that would be at least more honourable. But to impugn another guy with aspersions that he's lying, though he be the specialist, and that he doesn't know what he's talking about because you are the authority on the collective works of Einstein,
well, again, I'm not saying I am. Again, I opened the question. All I can say is, I can't find it. Can somebody else find me the quote from Einstein where he said you can convert mass into gravity? Show me that. Show me where Einstein said that was a function of the universe. Because I can't find it.
It's just downright despicable.
No, it's despicable to say Einstein said what he didn't say, or that he confirmed the existence of their variety of gravitational wave. Again, Einstein's understanding of gravity wave was two bodies moving and that there's subtle tiny fluctuations in the disbursement of gravity based on what kind of focus you have, whether it's this or this, that there's a subtle change in the gravity. That's Einstein's understanding of gravity waves. It has nothing to do with converting these fingertips into energy.
It's not there.
Let's see if you go to explain how it's not there. Is this anything other than a negation? Oh no, it's not. Oh no, it's not. You're wrong. Oh no.
Well, I've explained why it can't theoretically make any sense. As I've pointed out, isn't it convenient that the universe has the most energetic event that happens in the universe, and it's colossally more energetic than anything else we know of, and that event just happens to happen in the invisible force that doesn't incinerate us by some magic. Right? If it was photons, we'd be burned to a crisp.
No, you're wrong. Let's see if you go on to explain it. This is as far as I got, and I thought, God, you were so bad.
So that's just crap.
Oh, good argument. Oh, the liar, bums on fire, pants on fire.
Yeah, well, obviously I've made more than that argument, right? I don't say it's just crap and then it's the end of the sentence. I say it's just crap because think about the inverse square law applied to a force so powerful that at 5 billion light years it moves rocks on the Earth. It knocked say a 500-pound rock just off Mount Everest. So that's all it did. We'll take all the energy that goes into the whole Earth and we'll just put it in one location. It knocked a 500-pound rock off the top of Mount Everest. Just take that rock moving off the top of Mount Everest and by the inverse square law rules go 5 billion light years away and see what kind of how insanely large that amount of energy equates to at the inverse square law. And you'll find that it's going to equate to something like moving 10 million galaxies 3 light years away. It's going to be an insane amount of energy.
Argument. That's better than the liar, pants on fire argument. That's just crap. Come on, hit me with it.
Yeah, I just did. I've hit you with the arguments. You've ignored them entirely. So what else can be said? If you haven't ignored them, you've preposterously defended absolute rubbish with absolutely insane rationalizations. They composited the image and put a fake date on it.
With it, whoops.
It's a crap response to say it's there.
Oh, right. Well, I've made in several videos. I've uploaded a guy. I've pointed to the guy saying it's a consequence of these equations.
Yeah, and I've said repeatedly, I haven't gotten to that video yet. So the more you mention it, okay, the more you're saying this is your guy now, huh? Squeaky is the guy. I think you're going to be in big trouble just because I have watched 10 minutes of it. And he doesn't make an argument in the first 10 minutes. So we'll see if he uses the rest of his time with any productivity at all or any efficiency. Because all he's really doing is talking as if he's talking to a bunch of 3-year-olds.
He delivers the equation, which is a consequence of that equation.
Okay, it's a consequence of the equation. He delivers the new equation, and we're just supposed to say the new equation is exactly what the old equation was. We've just newerized it. You know, we wrote it in a new 2017 pen. See, the old one was written in a 1916 pen. This one's written in a new 2017 pen. So this is the right equation.
He tells you this, right? Whether, you know, and to be honest, whether Einstein said it or not, somebody has. And it's been...
Somebody said it, okay? I mean, amazing. Einstein's words are worth shit, and the somebody now is the guy. So somebody is just so much more important than Einstein himself. The guy who invents the fucking theory, well, his opinion isn't worth shit. It's this other guy who's the guy who really knows this shit. Fine, whatever.
You know, it's not been refuted. If Einstein come up with that, it's understood to be correct.
When you have no evidence that it's there.
The evidence is mathematical thought and development and proof.
Again, we drew a formula and then we said we did it. And so what else? What other evidence do you need? That's all the evidence we need. Done. The witness says so. You're not allowed to cross-examine any of this. He said so. Game over. We win.
What are you talking about? There's no evidence in the sense of...
Yeah, evidence would be in the form of some physical phenomenon in the universe that duplicates or in some way it has a connection to the theoretical notion that you can convert mass into gravity. That's all we're looking for. Show me the example somewhere else where it happens, in some other circumstance, where some other scientists besides the LIGO people say it happens.
No mathematical proof, no mathematical finding of one implication. And this is, I'm just wasting my words here. You don't understand what it means that an equation can imply something else, another truth, another equation that can come from the original equation.
No, I understand what assumptions are, and that's all this is. You're just saying that, well, we're going to make a new bold assumption, and we're going to assume that you can convert mass into gravity, and that's all this is. So yeah, let's rewrite the equation with this new idea in it.
Yeah. I mean, this is just la 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 la. I don't know what he's talking about.
No, that's exactly what you're doing as a response. I don't know. That's my witness. He's my witness. Fuck. Isn't that good enough?
He's talking about maths and logic, and you have no idea what I'm saying.
Okay, so again, it's logical to think you can move rocks on the Earth at 5 billion light years. You have this powerful ray that shoots 5 billion light years and moves rocks. So just think of it the other way around, like the Earth is actually going to shoot a ray gun, and it's going to shoot 5 billion light years away, okay, at the inverse square law. That means the ray is going to get preposterously weaker as it goes away, and you're going to try to move rocks on a planet 5 billion light years away. Can you get some notion of how fucking big your little gun's going to have to be?
Come on, but maybe you've got better. Before you move on, you know, you're going to deliver. So your justification is, I'm not saying just no, you're saying there's no evidence. Well, requesting evidence for mathematical proofs and derivations is, you know, as stupid as not believing in...
Oh, whatever. So now you say it's stupid to expect evidence. You know, sorry. I corroboration, let's say, from some other formula somewhere, some other element of physics where this phenomenon seems something in quantum mechanics that somehow explains this this idea that you can convert the energy of the mass into the gravity force.
Evolution, yeah.
Seen equations that
So that was all you had for me, yeah? Just a blunt rejection and saying that, no, there's no evidence.
Okay, so is that fair cop at all, right? I sit there and meticulously argue these certain details that don't make any sense. I give you this idea that, okay, even at the r, even at 1 over r, okay, you're still stuck with a preposterous equation of energy, and then you have even more energy in a more confined beam, so it's like a laser beam shooting out, so it's going to be even more destructive to the local inhabitants. These are real arguments, by the way. So he says that's all I did, what he quoted there. And this is an honest fucker? No, it's not even close.
Yeah? These things, they didn't find, you didn't research and study that equation looking for evidence. Yeah? They looked, and he says it, and I'll not play it again, it's about the consequences of that equation. That means you can wrangle the logic, yeah, of equations, of mathematics, and out pops another equation.
Yeah, whatever, fine. I'm saying, okay, you're saying that he did this in some legitimate way. I haven't played his video yet to see how they did that. I did notice he changed the number from 44 to minus 21. Well, okay. I don't even know if that's enough, frankly, but okay, somehow that makes it into a wave equation. We'll see if it actually makes it into how you turn matter into a wave.
And it says gravitational waves. That's the orthodox position, and you have nothing to say to it.
Oh, I have plenty to say to it. I say you can't put Einstein's name on that because that's not what Einstein understood to be a gravitational wave, and I'm saying you have no basis, not a shred of evidence besides confirming your own theory, just like dark matter, absolutely not a shred of evidence of the existence of this phenomenon of converting mass into gravity.
So many years ago, 2 years ago, I uploaded this video. I think it's funny, and it sums up in Mendham's argument style.
Alright, I'll play a video of a pedophile and say that pretty much sums up hythloday's everything style. He's a molester of everything.
is this my going to Nottingham? I told you.
Oh, Monty Python, yes. The Monty Python's very funny. And so, again, he just ignores all these specific points I make about why I'm unconvinced. He thinks I should be just convinced. He thinks I should have heard when I was a kid that photons have an electric part and a magnetic part, and they're doing this and they're doing all this, and I should have just said, yes, 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 I see it, I see it. And if I say, I don't see any of that, what are you talking about? There are things at a frequency, obviously. That's the wavelength. It's the distance between the things. What are you talking about, this wavy shit? I'm not allowed to do that. That's somehow being irrational. To say, where's the evidence of any of this fieldy bullshit? Where's one shred of evidence that any of that crap is happening? And then they say, two-slit experiment. And you say, what? How does that prove any of this shit? So anyway. Oh, it's just like waves, except, well, not in the single slit. It's nothing like water waves, and it's only a little bit like them in the double slit, and it's nothing like them again when you have a whole bunch of slits. So, yeah, it's like water, except it's not. And that's their evidence, though. That's all that that's all they got. The Young experiment. Alright, anyway. So let's finish up here with the next video. Oh, there's Squeaky. Okay, see, I'm 6 minutes and 57 seconds in. See, and he does this right here. V equals V1 plus V2. Nobody rational would ever use this as a real V anywhere. This would only be a force equation. If it was a force equation, you would have V times mass and V2 times mass. And you'd add it up to get force. You'd never add it up to create this fake velocity that nothing is moving. This isn't going to be moving this fake velocity. This isn't going to be moving this fake velocity. This fake velocity doesn't exist anywhere. This is a completely fictitious, notional, multidimensional, crap, useless thing. This isn't anything. This doesn't happen anywhere in the universe. This is not a real thing. It's a fake thing. It has no reality at all. It never happens as an event. This V. So this is his guy. The guy who's supposed to know something about reality. And he's doing an equation that can't serve any purpose but to create misinformation, not real information. Alright, so laughing. He's going to do some laughing, is he? That's all he's good for. Can't do anything called arguing.
Okay. I just watched the video, it's funny. Okay. Claims to fame, so to speak, over Daft Science, right?
Fat pedophile. Is that what you were laughing about? You were just watching one of your little petty movies, your little pedo movies? Little boys in swim trunks or something?
Daft Science, I had to explain. Yeah. Not like just say, oh, you made a little error there. I had to explain acceleration to him. Yeah.
Well, again, he's saying he was explaining to me when really what he's really doing is reminding me, okay? So that's all, really. I mean, he's saying that somehow I really didn't know that something, when it's moved by gravity, it's not going to go instantaneously at 10 meters per second. And so, therefore, it doesn't reach a maximum speed instantaneously. And so, but okay, I'm just saying, so okay, he wants to think that this is an important fact in any of this conversation. That somehow I make a simple comment just talking about how fast you would move across a surface, and I just said, that your acceleration would be 10 meters per second. And again, if I would have made that in a 2-second time interval, I would have been correct. But anyway, regardless, that somehow this has something to do with this whole conversation about the legitimacy of gravitational waves or the legitimacy of my particle theory. Bullshit.
In the comment section. And I've complained endlessly about not just the odd mistake, but endlessly interchanging.
Yeah, there's no endless. Okay, so why don't you document all these really important corrections you've made? Why don't you document them?
The words velocity and acceleration incorrectly.
Again, prove it. Prove it with something other than just grotesque quote mining. So if I do, I'll do that to Susskind, right? Because he does it constantly. Constantly he calls photons electrons, constantly making little errors like that. Just constantly. And maybe I should put a collection together of all of Professor Lewin's formulatic mistakes. Where he puts the lambda where he should have put the delta, and he does some other kind of bullshit and has to fix it. Oh, you must be so proud of yourself that that's the best you can do.
Okay. That's a little plenty there.
No, see, now he's thinking, his brain's going, that was desperately petty, that was desperately petty, that was desperately petty. And it's confusing him, so that's why he's lost in thought here.
Recently, he has made, in so-called thoroughly analysing my video, at the point where discussion of how small Einstein's prediction of gravitational waves was. I think it was 10 to the minus 44. And my discussion about there being one...
No, I didn't even say that formula. That was your claim that this formula had something to do with Einstein. The 1 to the 44th wasn't any Einstein wave equation. He didn't do an Einstein... There's no Einstein wave equation for gravity. So, no, that's your relativity equation.
One smaller number that I knew of, perhaps, that's the cosmological constant. And I just to get a reference frame on the smallness of the 10 to the minus 44, I mentioned that Planck's constant is 10 to the minus 33. And in Mendon says, see, that 33 is smaller than 44. You're pulling him to pieces. Even you can spot the errors. Now, this is another stupid...
No, I was pointing out how you were in error. To bring up 33 when it's a smaller error. You have to bring up larger examples, not smaller examples. If you're going to say the guy says, I've never seen a bigger number, you have to come up with something like 55 or 66 or 77. You can't come up with 30-something. 30-something's lower than 40-something, idiot. I was saying you're an idiot, idiot. You made an error, idiot. I could feel all proud of myself. Oh, I had corrected hythloday. He didn't know that 33 was a smaller number than 44. You are an idiot. No, I pointed out you made it like a typo. You're a dumbass.
Lack of technical education that the amendment has. 10 to the minus 33 is a bigger number than 10 to the minus 44.
It's not a bigger number in terms of the decimal places, asshole. And that's what the guy was talking about. He wasn't saying I had never seen a bigger number. Okay, he was talking about the fact that he's never saw as many decimal places. So he said smaller number maybe in the video. You want me to replay his video? We can replay his video. The point is the argument wouldn't be for you to bring up a minus 33 isn't going to be a number with more decimal places than minus 44. Minus 44 has more decimal places, idiot. You brought up a stupid example.
Yeah. 33 on its own is a smaller number than 44, correct? But 10 to the minus 33 means 33 zeros, and 10 to the minus 44 means 44 zeros before the decimal place. And guess what? Time constant is bigger.